So in this video, let's talk about the traditional type of hypnotherapy or hypnosis, whatever you want to call it, versus ACH, which is our advanced conversational hypnosis. Well, let's define what I mean by ACH, because people hear the conversational hypnosis and they say, well, Scott, isn't that just language patterns? No, it's not language patterns. Isn't that just like NLP, mixed with Ericksonian language patterns and meta models and all that? No, absolutely not. If you look at more the traditional hypnotherapy, what is it exactly? Let's look at the timeline. You might do like their little hypnotic interview at the start. You'll tell a client to go deeper. You might give them some suggestibility tests to find out how suggestible they are to trance. You do the whole deepening thing. You do the imagination. You do the relaxation, the walking down the stairs or walking down a beach and going deeper. Then what will happen is once you feel, or you might get like a suggestibility test or see their arms starting to rise to see how unconscious they are, you'll give them the suggestions. Okay, that's pretty much how a traditional hypnotherapy session would work. Then you do the same session over and over and over because you're banking on repetition. You give a bunch of audios and a bunch of homeworks, and it might take you 6 to 8 sessions to deal with something like stop smoking or anxiety. So very long way to do it. And if you look at it closely, no matter what the script, no matter how it's written or who it's written by, the suggestibility test, all that sort of thing, doesn't matter what they call the hypnosis when you learn this stuff at like a traditional school or something, or online or something like that. It's pretty much all the same thing. No matter what they call it, no matter how fancy the name is, it's all following the same timeline. And we know a lot of that timeline is all symptoms, but also a lot of that timeline is spent on the hypnosis portion first. Now, it's strange to say is hypnosis when I say things like, well, we don't worry about the hypnosis. What do I mean by this? This is where ACH comes into, guys, and a very interesting way to do therapy. There's 3 types of therapy that we can do. It's probably the best way to explain it. The way I look at it is 3 types of hypnosis experience people can have. Number 1 is what I call a relaxation trance or a relaxation experience, where you might deepen a client, you relax them so they feel relaxed. And then from there, we're expected, okay, well, a client is relaxed. I'm going to use some suggestions to tell them to be a non-smoker, anxiety, or something like that. But here's the funny thing. Just because a client is relaxed does not mean you have complete access to the unconscious mind. Think about it like this. Have you ever been laying on the couch watching a movie and being really relaxed? Did you have a breakthrough? People say, well, hang on, Scott, no one was giving me suggestions. What if you're watching TV and you're in this place where you're very suggestible, as it says you should be? Why are you not absorbing the suggestions on the TV, on the video? You could also have a therapist do the whole relaxation thing, tell you the suggestions, and you come out the other side and you say, yeah, I felt really relaxed, but my problem is still there. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole symptoms and scripts and all that sort of stuff. I've talked enough about that. So that's the first type of therapy, first type of hypnosis. That's just relaxation. The second type is what I call a dirty trance. So what do I mean by dirty trance? Well, it follows the same timeline. You relax a client, you have them go deeper, do suggestibility tests, stuff like that. Then you do the suggestions. But the problem with this is your client's conclusions, their issues, their I can't because of this type thinking, their mindset, all the conclusions, all the experiences, all the years of having that problem, you essentially take them into a place where trance should exist. And what do? They bring in all that baggage with them. They bring in all of those, what we call knots. They bring in all the conclusions, the issues, the emotions. And now this trance is basically, if you imagine like a bubble, they're sitting in this bubble called trance with all their, excuse my language here, bullshit with them. So no matter how many suggestions you throw at them, where do those suggestions land? They just bounce right off, all the negative stuff. They bounce off the conclusions, the backwards rationalization, the emotions, the this will never work for me, the doubt, the mindset, and then you pop your client out the other side and they're expected to have their breakthrough. But because of the dirtiness, so to speak, of the trance, all they've done is they've started the session with all their conclusions. They've gone into a place that is supposed to be trance, bringing in all those conclusions with them. What do you think is going to happen when they pop out the other side? Those same things are going to be there, if not worse, because sometimes when a client is relaxed or in trance, it can exacerbate what already exists. Now think about that. It can exacerbate what already exists, meaning that the client goes into trance with all these doubts that this is not going to work. It will exacerbate, it'll grow. So by the time they come out, now they've just concluded that, yes, this did not work, and adds another layer of complexity and knots onto things. That's what I mean. So we've got the relaxation. We've got the dirtiness trance or the dirty trance. What's left? Well, this is where ACH comes in. Now, if you look back at just the start of this video, you notice how I've talked about you start a client with the relaxation, you do the suggestibility test, they walk down the stairs, they go deeper, they drift. Suggestibility test, you're looking for certain phenomena to occur to let you know your client's gone deeper. And then the therapist is supposed to do the therapy. But like I said, if they concentrate on the therapy second, it just means they're going to bring all this bad stuff into the trance with them. This is where ACH comes into it, guys. And this is what we teach. We do the therapy first. Isn't that strange? We actually look at it as we do the therapy first. So if a trance exists or a trance happens as a byproduct of collapsing those knots and doing the therapy, a client can now go into this trance place and it's completely clean. It's like a fresh canvas, which means a client goes into this thing always looking for more positive stuff. It's open-ended, it's open-minded. That's why we do the therapy first. I don't want my client going into this trance place, bringing all this crap along with them. The resistance, the negativity, the mindset. Now, what's really cool, and Erickson said this, but a lot of people don't listen to this part. And he says, towards the end of my career, I stopped doing hypnosis. And this is exactly what he's talking about. Everybody's concentration on the hypnosis. You go to any more traditional trainings, what do they spend? You do a 3-day training with them, 2.5 days is just on the hypnosis part. Then half the day I'm just giving some suggestions around symptoms, and you wonder why it doesn't work. And they say, well, you've got to do it multiple times and audios and bookwork. No, you don't. If you get to the real root cause and have a breakthrough in the session, there's no need for those other things. We've talked about that on other videos. So we like to do the therapy first. What happens when you break down those knots and you do the therapy first? The byproduct of that is usually trance. Now notice what I said here. Everyone thinks that if I do the hypnosis first, the byproduct of hypnosis is the breakthrough, but it's not, because they, remember, if you do the hypnosis part first and they bring in all their bad stuff with them, the byproduct of that is the problem gets worse. We exacerbate it. We talked about that just before. So we like to do the therapy first. So we're basically fixing the problem before the hypnosis begins. And the hypnosis now becomes the icing on the cake. And the hypnosis part is basically a client going into this hypnotic state where there's no conclusions, there's no mess, there's no dirt, there's nothing bad in there. It's just a place where they can sit and really contemplate things. And that's where those aha moments come from. That's the breakthrough we're looking for. So in order to have a breakthrough, a client does not have to go into hypnosis. It's actually a byproduct. In order for a client to have a breakthrough, they have to go deep to digestibility tests, visualizations, timelines, regressions. They've got to hug their inner child. No, they don't. That is a byproduct. If it needs to be, sometimes it doesn't even need that. Sometimes a simple just breaking down and doing the therapy, you don't even need the hypnosis part, because once the problem's gone, the problem's gone. The hypnosis now becomes a byproduct. Now think about the timeline of this, guys. Let's say you spend an hour with a client. What if you spent 45 minutes doing the therapy, which is the only thing that matters, and then 15 minutes on the hypnosis? That causes very, very fast breakthroughs. But what does everybody do? They do the flip of that. 45 minutes of the hypnosis stuff. And again, being a little bit generous with the time there, but you get my point. Then 15 minutes of the therapy. What's the one thing or the only thing your client's paying for you and your services? For a breakthrough. So what if you took the understanding that a client does not have to go into trance? Why? I've talked about this on other videos. In order for a client to create the problem, they had to go into trance. A client who created their own problem didn't have to follow their timeline, didn't have to do a regression, didn't have to have a deepener, didn't have to use suggestibility tests, didn't have to have language patterns. They didn't have to talk to themselves. They just created it. It's what their unconscious mind does to deal with some sort of external or even internal stimulus. That's why the unconscious mind works. So we can use the very mechanics of breaking through a client's problem by using the mechanics of the way they created the problem. I know when I've created problems in my life, I didn't have to go to a certain depth. I didn't have to use language patterns on myself. The problem just started. It existed. So if you go into a session, guys, doing the therapy first, and then trance occurs as a byproduct because of that, not relaxation, actual trance. A big difference between a relaxation place and a trance place. Trance place and the breakthrough place being very similar. So if you do the therapy first, it means that your client's not going to drag in all their bullshit with them, then pop out the other side, exacerbating the problem in a bad way. So that's where ACH excels. That is the massive difference. No other traditional type therapy does the therapy first. It's all concentrated on the hypnosis. Now, sure, there might be different scripts and advanced language patterns and deepeners and arm levitation, all that. It's all the same thing. If you're concentrating on the hypnosis, you're losing valuable time. Your focus should be on spending longer in the therapy and not worrying about the hypnosis. Realize that by a client having a real therapeutic breakthrough, trance usually becomes the byproduct. And it is a very different trance compared to an organically made relaxation trance. Again, a client doesn't have to be relaxed to go into trance. And you'll notice the massive difference, guys, between a trance that's a result of a breakthrough compared to something that is man-made. The organic trances are way stronger, way deeper, full of more resources and aha moments than telling a client, okay, close your eyes, you're going deeper, you're drifting, you slow down your voice and all that language pattern. 2 hours later, you've got them to a place of depth and you look at your clock and think, oh my God, the session's over. I'm just going to tell them you're a non-smoker 100 times. But again, that's the symptom, playing around with that, but you sort of get my point here. So to speed up your breakthroughs, guys, and where this video started, between the traditional types of therapy and hypnosis and NLP, they concentrate on the trance thing because they believe that, you know, client goes into trance, they get relaxed, you got access to the unconscious mind. It doesn't work like that, as I explained. Do the therapy first, then the trance becomes a byproduct. You'll never, ever have to worry about a client going deep enough. You never have to worry about doing the timelines, the regressions, the hugging their inner child, the forgiveness. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Why? Because the therapy's done basically before the hypnosis has started, guys.